How's it going?
Jim. You and I guess. I guess I'll start. I mean, when did you get the idea that Giannis would be good to go? And then what did it mean, I guess, to have, obviously, him back on the court?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we were all a little bit in the dark. Obviously, we were just kind of hoping he was healthy. We were hoping he was and understanding that he was putting himself in the best position, going through all the treatment and all the things that he had to try to get himself as close to ready, if not ready for game one as he could. And then, I mean, it means everything. Obviously, he's the leader of our team, and he's a guy that can impact the game more than anybody on both ends of the floor. So to have him out there was incredible, and I think for us, it's just about making sure that we make the necessary adjustments going into game two.
I guess along those lines, I mean, Jrue and PJ are just in here talking about, obviously it starts with defense. What was it, the transition D and some of the turnovers? Was it some of the switching? Where I guess, did you feel like, today matters in terms of adjusting and getting better?
I think you can make the game plan adjustments, and we will. Obviously, we don't want to turn the ball over. We want to try to limit fast break points. We want to be a little bit more crisp when it comes to switching or knowing what defensive coverage we're in. But I think at the end of the day, it starts with making sure that they don't feel as comfortable. That activity, that physicality, that toughness that we've brought, all year, all postseason, I think we can amp that up a little bit to make sure that we bring that physicality. I mean, if you look at that Brooklyn series, every single game felt kind of like a dogfight. And last night was, in my opinion, just one of those games where they felt a little too comfortable throughout the game, but also more so watching film after the game and finding ways that we can adjust and be a little bit more physical, be a little bit more tough, be a little bit more aggressive.
Go ahead. Keep going, Jim.
I guess along those lines, though, so like Jrue said, they went to the free throw line too much. So is that the part you can't really predict? You have to try to make them uncomfortable, but also find out from how it's going to be officiated on, like, not fouling, I guess. You know what I mean? Like that balance of, getting up in and being physical, but not sending them to the line.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a game-by-game basis, right? But I also think it's not just the fouls from being physical, but it's the fouls from being, sometimes mentally locked in or knowing what they're going to want to do, right? I mean, there were some fouls last night that were on shot fakes that we need to be aware that guys on their team love doing. There's also the idea of knowing how physical you can be before the bonus and after the bonus. And so to kind of understand when they're in the scoring area, understand when we can make them uncomfortable, when we can be physical, and then just when we can be physical when we're in the right position. Being physical doesn't always mean pushing them off their spot. Being physical means being somewhere before they get there, being in a position to take a charge, being in a position to go vertical, being in a position to make the floor look really small when they're trying to look for driving lanes.
It was one of the better shooting nights overall for you guys in a while. What can that do? I realize every game changes, but can that have some sort of confidence carryover? Bryn hit some threes. You had some shots. I mean, they haven't really been going in that much the last series or two. Can that carry over to a degree? Does it help? Is it nice to have that kind of shooting start to a series?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at the end of the day, though, I think seeing the way we shot last night, understanding that we may not have shot that well at times in the last two series, but our defense was there in the last few series. It just kind of shows what wins games. And when our defense is there and we shoot well, you've seen some games where, we've blown teams out. So I think for us, it's starting on the defensive end. It's starting on getting stops. And then it's getting out in transition. It's running. It's spacing the floor. It's doing things that are going to put our offense in a position to have success. But how well we shoot or don't shoot the ball, I don't think should predict how well our defense plays or if we will win or not win a game.
Go to Zoom for some questions. Go ahead, please.
All right, let's go to Hugh Hopkins. All right, welcome back to you, Hugh. Let's go to Leonardo Torres.
Hi, Pat. It's Leonardo Torres from Peru. Hope you're well.
Apologies about that. Can you hear us?
What?
Sorry,
Hugh, we'll come back to you. Leonardo, go ahead.
Pat, you can hear me?
Yep.
We can hear you fine. Yep.
Okay, Pat, what aspects do you think you need to be more consistent in order to win Game 2? And what are your thoughts on Giannis Antetokounmpo's leadership?
I'd say the areas we need to be more consistent to put ourselves in a position to win Game 2 is just defensively, making it a little bit harder on them, making them feel a little bit more uncomfortable. And then Giannis's leadership, I think, second to none. One of the things that I've said a few times over the last few days is, his growth as a leader since the day that I got here was evident, when he did go down, when he did get hurt. He was still present. He was still at our practices. He was still at our film sessions. He was addressing guys individually, pulling them off to the side. He was addressing the team collectively before games, during games, after games. And I think that speaks, volumes to what he is as a leader, especially in today's NBA where, sometimes you see guys who are injured not be as present because they're focused on getting back. Giannis was able to focus on getting back and get his body in a healthy position to play Game 1 of the NBA Finals, but he was also present in all of our team activities in order to make sure that he was instilling confidence in us both individually and collectively.
Okay, let's go back to Hugh.
Thanks, guys, and thanks for taking the time to talk to us. Specifically about Jay Crowder, he didn't score much in the last game at all, really, and it sort of felt like you guys attacked him depending on who he was guarding. I wonder what type of threat do you think Jay Crowder can be in this series?
Jay's a great player. I think he's shown it time and time again, no matter what team he's on. He's physical, he's tough, he's a great defender, he's a great shooter, and he does all the little things that may not end up on the stat sheet, but you need in order to put yourself in a position to win in the playoffs. So, I think he's a tremendous player, and I think we obviously have to make sure that we continue to try to mitigate or match the things that he does on our end.
That's great, thanks.
Okay, final question on Zoom. Let's go to Eduardo.
Hi, Pat. Eduardo Vidal from Hispanic Sports Media. What is the defensive adjustment to defend Chris Paul and prevent him from taking advantage when he gets the mismatch on the pick and roll?
Chris Paul's a great player. I think Chris Paul has shown time and time again that he is as good physically as he is mentally, right? So he's going to make sure that he understands the game, and he's going to try to create a mismatch no matter where it is on the floor. He'll call up 3, 4, 5 pick and rolls in order to try to get to the matchup that he wants. So I think for us, it's just adjusting and understanding that, we have to focus on the things that we do great defensively. Trying to guess what he's going to try to do, try to, focus on what he's going to try to do is taking us out of the game that we have and the defense that we've played all year and year in and year out over the last few years since I've been here. So I think we'll focus on the things that we do great defensively. We'll understand that there's going to be times where we're in certain coverages. There's going to be times where we're in other coverages. And then it's just about knowing personnel, knowing what he wants, where he wants to get to on the floor, the direction in which he wants to go, and the things that he wants to do when he gets to certain spots of the floor in order to try to mitigate those.
Thanks, Pat. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks, guys.